Well folks, sorry for the absence, I've been very busy doing lots of work.
Skyrim isn't considered work.
You've obviously never tried leveling up an archer. Speaking of Skyrim, if you have the PC version, never enter console mode and type in player place at me 000A2C81 to make a copy of Lydia when you can't find her. Bad things happen. It doesn't teleport Lydia like I thought, it makes a copy of her. Well, I couldn't find her in the beginning of the game, so I typed in that command, and I got a copy of her. It worked well for the longest time, and then I purchased a house in Whiterun for 5,000 gold, and I took Lydia inside, and then I lay down to sleep for an hour. When I woke up, there was my Lydia, standing guard over me, and someone was in my house. I walked over to the other bedroom and, it was Lydia, two of them, so I quickly shut the bedroom door, told the other Lydia to follow me. I made her wait downstairs. I walked back up to the bedroom, opened the door, walked inside with Lydia number 2, closed the doors, pulled out my 2 enchanted daggers, and fucked her shit up in about 3 seconds and she was dead. These are very powerful daggers, but run out of charge really fast. I then left the bedroom, and closed the door. Lydia number 2 was dead, and no matter how many times I leave the house, and re-enter, her corpse is always there. So every time I enter the house I tell Lydia to wait downstairs. While I go upstairs to get to my chest, I call the dead one Lydia number 2, but technically I believe she is the first one, and it is Lydia number 2 I have been doing battle with all this time.
Huh? I've got your back. As you wish, my Thane.
There, she is, dead, and she won't go away. I tell ya, it gives me the creeps knowing there is a duplicate of Lydia, dead, in the next room. I think I am going to have to buy a new house. I know you can get a free one. I forget where. It's haunted by a Dedra, but it always gave me the willies. Of course the house I live in now gives me the willies because of that dead corpse. So what do you think of my character? She's rather badass I think. Here, let me adjust the brightness since this is not the ideal lighting condition to show off a character. I know she's not exactly hot, but she's not meant to be. Let me tell you her backstory. She was an abandoned wood elf, found in the woods by some humans who adopted her. She grew up a bit troubled, being wood elf in a Nordic area. Then one day her parents were murdered. She never found out why, but since then she has sworn to seek out and exact revenge on those responsible. After her parents were killed, she lived in the woods, surviving on her hunting skills. This is why she is so good at archery. For all I know, when you beat the game you are given a backstory, one that might conflict with this one, but I never beat the game. I always play until about level 15 or 20, get bored and create a new character. Sometimes I will focus on magic, sometimes archery, sometimes I will try to master two-handed weapons, and so on and so forth, but this is the first character I ever really liked. This here is my last character. His name is Reginald Bonworth. His backstory is that he was once from a well-to-do family, but his family was disgraced when it turns out that the family fortune was based on a theft. All of their capital was based on this one theft, and the police confiscated all of their belongings and gave their assets to the family that was stolen from. Since then he has been poor, and has decided to live a good clean life, to do right by others, and be a good man. He feels the disgrace of his family, and wishes to atone for his father's mistakes, more than ready to play the hero to anyone who needs help.
Razor, you shouldn't spend too much time talking about video games. Your audience consists of MRAs. You need to stick to pandering to your target demographic.
Of course, it's a good thing I have you as my PR agent, narrator, and secretary. You're so much better than Kate. That bitch stole my Bugatti in the last episode. I still don't know where she is. I noticed that video hasn't gotten a lot of views, and I believe it's because of the third-party content, which has the availability blocked for mobile devices, and in a few countries. So I'll put a link in the description of this video to a copy of it on Dailymotion. That doesn't restrict mobile devices, because it was a really good episode. I don't really fault YouTube for having third-party content blocked on mobile devices. That's a matter of deals they strike with copyright holders, and YouTube's hands are tied, so they have to work with copyright agencies, and the record and film industry. And someone said in the comments of the video,
"While I appreciate the shotgunning the terrible CD shtick, I should point out that shooting a shotgun out of a car would rupture the eardrums of everyone inside." On a lighter note, is it just me or are the two primary emotions feminists express fear and rage?
What? I can't hear you, can you speak up? Yes, ordinarily a shotgun fired out of a car window would bust eardrums, unless the barrel was outside the window, since it is the expansion of air that comes out of the front of a gun that produces nearly all of the sound. However, I also had a silencer on that gun. The explosion you heard wasn't the gun, it was the CD blowing up. Apparently Never Shout Never is such a horrible band, the CD has an evil aura about it. When I pierced its black heart with the buckshot, the evil energy collided with the positive energy of Earth's atmosphere, and like matter and antimatter, produced a magnificent explosion, so all you heard was the click of the cartridge being chambered, and then the explosion of the CD. Speaking of wonky pseudo-science, in my last video that feminist was talking about the politician that made the comment that if a woman is being legit raped, her body does a thing which stops her from getting pregnant. I commented about how silly that comment was, and actually had someone leave a comment that agreed with this politician. He said something like, during moments of trauma a woman's endocrine system produces a less favorable environment, yada yada yada, to which I replied, no. He's deleted his comment. I want to further explain that, no. The myth that a woman has a natural defense against pregnancy during a rape is pro-life propaganda that dates back to at least the early 80s. It is based on the shottiest of science. It works like this: during high stress, a woman's body undergoes changes to her hormones which decreases the chance of pregnancy, and increases the chances of a miscarriage. And this is true, but it's also the same sort of medical fact that allows for a person's hair to turn white when exposed to trauma, or to develop constipation when stressed, meaning, yes, it can happen, but it is not a guarantee, and the percentage of likelihood is unknown. But this medical fact has been taken out of context by pro-lifers to insist that there is no need to legalize abortion for rape victims because if she was really raped she wouldn't have gotten pregnant. Again, this is just creationist-type pseudo-science. I could just as easily say if a woman reports being raped to the police, and her hair isn't pale white, she's clearly making it up. Pure rubbish. There is sometimes a study cited that shows female snakes after hibernation tend to get raped by multiple males, and there is reason to believe that she allows a selected male snake to get pregnant by, while not getting pregnant by the other male snakes. Well, okay, but, all women are vipers. Jokes aside, that was a scientific study pertaining to one breed of snake, theorized at that, and again pertains to the hormones and reproductive biology of a cold-blooded reptile. This can't possibly be used as factual evidence pertaining to warm-blooded mammals, specifically of the Homo sapien variety. I miss my days of boning creationists. You can believe whatever you want, just don't muddy up science with faith-driven arguments. Pro-lifers and creationists, they tend to overlap, and the thing is, I had a Christian friend, who was a scientist, and who at least had a pretty good explanation for Genesis. He said that God was speaking in overly simplified metaphor to people who were so uneducated that they couldn't even grasp the concept of magnets, atoms, microscopic bodies, etc. How else was God supposed to explain the beginning of creation to such uneducated people? He would have to pour all of the universe's knowledge into their head, then explain the beginning of creation, to a brain that may not be biologically wired to comprehend creation, or just use an overly simplified metaphor. Well, all I can say is fair enough. I still don't believe in God, but at least that explanation doesn't fuck over science, which is all I ever gave a shit about anyway.
You're straying from the topic, and you're using divisive language. Stay on topic.
Yes, of course, it's a good thing I have you here to limit my rambling. Anyhow, I may have been losing myself in Skyrim, but I have gotten a lot done. All of my old videos have all of their info descriptors back, all the links and references in their place, except for a few references I couldn't find, and I got all the descriptive info saved to a text file, so if this channel goes down, I can just copy-paste on all my new videos on my next channel. By the way, I think this is the longest I have ever gone without my channel being flagged. I have no strikes on this new channel, but hell, I am still doing things to prepare for this channel going down. Our enemy has no argument. They must resort to censorship, so while I am lucky this new channel has not been flagged, it's only a matter of time before it gets flagged and goes down, and I am still doing little things here and there, preparing for that. Also, the Silent Hill 3 Let's Play, it's 8 hours long, completely done and uploaded, excellent quality, and I will be releasing it soon. I know, Let's Plays suck. It's just some guy playing a video game and randomly babbling about bullshit. It gets sold after the first 15 minutes, if you can survive 15 minutes of a Let's Play, but this one is different. I hate to brag, but it is the single greatest Let's Play in the world. No, I am dead serious. For every 20 minutes of game footage, it took 4 to 9 hours to do the text-to-speech voiceovers. It's jam-packed with lots of comedy, a few inside jokes, and a pretty good description of what I am doing and why I am doing it, along with a strong gameplay analysis. It is difficult to type in what I want to say, and then edit it in a way that fits what I am doing. It would be so much easier if I could just play the game and talk into a microphone, but going over the gameplay footage, minute by minute, coming up with analytical and humorous comments to remove as much silent space as possible, and having to lower the volume of the game during the voiceover, and then raise the volume back up, since the game's volume is so fucking erratic it was either that, or just crank up the voiceover to ridiculous volume, which would make the game barely audible, and as I mention many times in the game, it's the sound of the game that gives it all of its environment and atmosphere. It's all about the sound. Anyhow, I noticed about a month ago that I cracked 2,000 subscribers, hooray for me, and because I never did anything special when I got my first 1,000 subs, I doubt I will ever see 3,000 subs. I might as well do something special now. So, I am going to go over my top 10 videos, the videos that are really special to me, and I will be giving some shoutouts to a few MGTOW/MRAs on YouTube that I think you guys will enjoy. My top 10 favorite videos. Number 10, Feminists Protest MRA Conference. This was my first glance at Big Red. I think I was pretty funny. I even made a techno mix of Big Red.
Hating women, there's the fucking proof. Hating women, there's the fucking proof. If you would shut the fuck up for the 50th billionth time. Hating women, there's the fucking proof. Hating women, there's the fucking proof. If you would shut the fuck up for the 50th billionth time.
I only regret that I had to sample Skrillex for the wub 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 thing. I have the audio equipment to do the Skrillex growling bass, or wub wub as some call it, but the shit is seriously fucking hard to use. I could have either spent a week doing my own growling bass, or 5 minutes sampling Skrillex. Number 9, moving on, or, A Brave New World. This video had little to do with feminism and the MRM. It was mostly just an artistic and silly video of me traveling the world looking for better women. The only disappointing thing was the Need for Speed Most Wanted driving scene. The image quality was shit, and for no reason it dropped to about 10 frames per second. So after that video is when I downloaded Fraps to record my gameplay on, because using that other screen capture software, the thing I am using right now, is very versatile, but it can't give me 30 FPS with lossless quality like Fraps can. It's also a shame that when YouTube encodes your video to FLV, it reduces the quality from what Fraps can deliver. If you think the car scenes in my last few videos looked good, you should see the original video quality. The original quality is 2 GB of data per minute of video. After I render it in Power Director, to MP4, it works out to about 1 GB per 10 minutes. Then YouTube renders it into probably half that size. At any rate, it was a fun video to make. I don't think but half my audience ever seen it, again because of third-party content. So I am going to go ahead and link that video to my backup on Dailymotion as well, for everyone on a mobile device. Number 8, Leave Snakepliskinist Alone, and Brittany too. This was not the first video I made referencing Femitheist Divine, those pesky dames, Snakepliskinist, who now goes by Rizzle. For anyone that misses him, I'll link it in the description. But it was one of my funniest videos about all 3 of them. Number 7, About Broke Men, a response to a Traditionalist Part 1 and 2. While I didn't really have all that much fun making it, I think it is a really important video because it is a wonderful example of why traditionalism sucks. For all you tradcans who just want to undo feminism and put them women folk back in the kitchen, barefoot and pregnant, spitting out babies, lots and lots of fucking babies, and oh how Barbarossa is the motherfucking antichrist for suggesting men don't marry. I ask that you watch that gold-digging whore encourage women to kick a broke-ass man to the curb. Don't love him, don't fuck him, don't date him, and if he was wealthy, then loses his job. Do not pacify that broke-ass nigger with your pussy. You tell that plow horse of a man to know his role and get a job. Yeah, I dare you to watch that fucking video. That gold digger, who is actually a pretty smart woman, is the best damn MGTOW recruitment tool we have. Like I've said in the past, it isn't Elam and GWW that turn people to the men's rights movement, it's the way feminists behave that turn men to the MRM, and it ain't Barbarossa and Stardust that turn men onto the MGTOW philosophy, it's traditionalist women like Tonya in that video, that in so many words tell you that as a man, it is your job to be tough and protect a woman, and it is your job to lavish her with cash. Your role in life is to be a disposable tool, who only gets love when you slave your life away to pamper a bitch and shower her with cash. When you get women putting that up in your face, and telling you what your role as the male sex is, you'll start to rethink that whole concept of as a man, I am a strong warrior, I shall be protector and provider, that is how God intended things, yeah, you'll start to rethink that shit pretty fucking quick, and when you say you know what, I ain't a fucking plow horse, I am a human being, not a walking ATM, bitch your legs ain't broke, you can work too, and then when you say that, the traditionalists among us will say you're every bit as bad as the feminists. You're starting to sound like Stardust and Barbarossa, and you'll think about it for a moment and say you know what, I think you're right, I think I should give those two a listen to. I'm just saying, all my jokes in the video aside, she, herself, is a damn fine recruitment for MGTOW. Number 6, RBK versus the Great White Knight. The Great White Knight, whose name used to be Fire in the Dawn, was a fucking lunatic that called me out. Motherfucker challenged me, no one had ever made a video challenging me, so I obliterated him, and humiliated him, without breaking a sweat. The dude was waving a fucking sword around, and saying retarded shit like.
And instead became viewed as an icon. So I liked what she did. I liked what she did because she tried to reclaim the word pesky right off the bat so that people weren't able to use it against her. I really, really approved of this kind of, work because it's basically fighting, the triumph of glamour over substance. And that's what conservatism is all about at this point, It's all about glamour over substance.
What? I seriously don't even know where to begin with that. I've sat here, literally for 6 hours letting that sink in. In the meantime I've had a chance to make a few more photoshopped pictures for an upcoming video. I tinkered with some software, watched a few videos by Subman USN, the sound of his voice relaxes me, checked my email, watched some videos of Christina Rad on mute while masturbating, she's kinda hot when she's not talking. Played some Grand Theft Auto, played some Far Cry 3, responded to some YouTube inboxes, voted on one of Femitiest Divine's polls. I swear every time I see her name appear on my comments or inbox it gives me that uneasy feeling like the Grim Reaper is standing over my shoulder, you can almost feel the icy cold fog rolling in. Masturbated again while watching some Critical G videos. Not that I was masturbating to him, just masturbating at the same time I just happened to be watching his videos. And 6 hours later, I don't have a comeback to your statement. I thought if I just gave it time, eventually I'd either understand what you mean, or at least have a really good comeback to such a stupid statement, but I don't. Congratulations, you are the first person to say something so fucking stupid, that I, a self-proclaimed comedian, have no fucking comeback to. I still don't know what the fuck that means, but what was really funny is he made a response video to my boning of him, and he even wrote me a PM saying something like my newest video, I destroy you, and destroy your arguments, I show you as pathetic, and I'll show you, and something like that. So I watched his response to my boning of him, and he is sitting there in the dark, mumbling incoherently, I can barely understand what he is saying, and he said all he wants is to show the world the truth and laugh at them, it's all about watching them crumble as he reveals the truth. I think I pwned him so hard I might have broke him, of course a half-wit fucktard like him being that mentally unbalanced, it wasn't hard to break him, well his channel is gone, and all of his videos are gone, but my pwnage of him immortalized him. Number 5. Got privilege? This was probably my first video exposing cultural Marxism, the driving principle behind political correctness. Everybody wants to be a victim. Let's all divide ourselves into a million subcategories and trade our privilege cards like baseball cards, and at the end of the day, we will round up the able-bodied, cisgendered, heterosexual, white, males, and put them in camps, and then gas the vermin to death, because that's what tolerance is all about. I swear, I fucking hate cultural Marxists, they're like Nazis, in reverse, and I am serious, it really just is Nazism with a reverse target, rather than survival of the strongest, determined by Hitler, by the forced eradication of the weak, again determined by Hitler, it is the empowerment, revenge of the weak, determined by the biggest crybabies on college campuses, at the expense of the strong, oppressors, as determined again by the crybaby liberal assholes on college campuses. In the same way that Hitler used Jews as a scapegoat for all of Germany's problems, these liberal tolerant politically correct cultural Marxists have targeted the cis-white hetero male as the cause of all the world's suffering. It's also the reason we are a victim-worshipping culture. Anyhow, the video shows some lesbians and transgender people arguing and bickering over which one of them is more oppressed and which one needs to check their privilege. That whole LGBTQLMNOP community, who are intertwined with feminism, is the perfect example of cultural Marxism. In fact, that's where we get all this check your privilege shit from. Anyhow, I just really liked the video because it was short, to the point, and I just feel proud of it. Number 4. Ending the left-right paradigm. Probably my most intellectual video. It was the counterpart to my video Cultural Marxism, where I dug deep into cultural Marxism, rather than a quick rant like the one I had, or the quick and poignant example of it in Got Privilege. Anyhow, in this video, I smacked the right-wing lunatics in the head, and expressed that socialism, communism, cultural Marxism, while these are things I am against, when all is said and done, feminism is not a byproduct of communism, it is a byproduct of women. The battle of the sexes has existed since the invention of the penis and the vagina. Feminism is female advocacy, it is women being women, female nature politicized, as Girl Rights What once said, and I expressed some pretty strong feelings about the state of the MRM. I also delivered some powerful philosophy on why this left-wing socialism and right-wing conservatism shit is a joke. They are both interdependent. Both wings benefit women because our entire Western culture is gynocentric, and the battle we face is not left versus right, it is male versus female. It is my most intellectual video, and while it is not my most entertaining video, it is probably my most important video. Number 3. Dating a Feminist, Part 1 and 2. This was the video that set the entire theme of my channel. Most of the routines I use today were born in that video. Driving around in my car, Need for Speed game footage, taking the feminist I am debating on a date. The characters Paul and Kate, lots of edits of other MRAs being inserted for comedy, and just the overall mood and tone. It is the quintessential RBK video, and for many months, it was the video that took the longest to make. It established most of the video tricks I use, only now I use Power Director, and have found even better ways of accomplishing the same effects. In order to make that video happen, I had to think outside the box, and invent new ways of using my software. I went from knowing diddly squat about video recording, other than editing a clip, and screen capping my text-to-speech program, to being able to pull off all the effects I now use in my videos, based on the shit I came up with in that video. And of course, because it involved a dame, it was the first video I ever had flagged, and it got flagged a couple of days after I put it up. Number 2. Femitheist Divine vs Girl Rights What? Epic chick fight. This video was probably the most fun to make. It had Subman USN and Cheswold Almighty guest star and read some lines for me. Pretty good acting by Subman, I fucking miss him. Where the fuck is he? I haven't talked to him in months. This video had over 20,000 views before my channel was taken down, so I am sure everyone has seen it by now, but I had a ton of fun making it, and it provided the community with a lot of entertainment. And now for number 1, my Silent Hill 3 Let's Play, which isn't published yet. Not published, but it is uploaded as you can see here. Yeah, I said I was going on vacation in the video Cookies and Lulz, and then I spent that entire time until December 15th making that Let's Play, so that was about 45 days of work. Why do I like this video so much? It's just entertaining as all fuck, and it took me over a fucking month to make, and I can honestly say without fear of contradiction, it is the single greatest Let's Play ever. Why haven't I published the video yet? Well, I needed to come out with one more video first, and I ended up making my last video instead, which has rather forced this video, and my next video will explain why the video you will be watching, has to be made first before the Let's Play gets published. Goddamn, don't question me. My genius is to be admired, not questioned. Why are you all looking at me like that? Put down your pitchforks and torches. Now I'm going to go ahead and give you guys another sneak peek at the Let's Play, just to give you an idea of the mood, the feel, and the graphics quality. These aren't the best parts of the game, just a few random scenarios and jokes. The best parts are the ones that require a lot of backstory, or one of the many running jokes, like the walnut, the fucking walnut, pork, fucking pork, and Gary Newman.
Oh fuck this, I don't know what that is, but fuck if I am sticking around long enough to find out.
Why did you turn off your flashlight? Were you trying to hide?
No, I just hit the wrong button.
My name is Douglas Carter. I'm a detective.
A detective? Really? Well, nice talking to you.
Hold on. There's someone that wants to meet you.
His name is Little Jimmy, and he lives in my pants. Kate, I got a map, now I can finally see where I'm going. Kate? Kate, are you asleep? Wake up.
What?
You were asleep.
Oh, sorry about that. I am totally going to fix me some tea, that will wake me up.
You go do that. How dare she fall asleep while I am doing a let's play? That is so fucking rude. Though I will admit the game is winding down a bit. Well, since the game is hitting a slow and boring part, I guess it's my job to keep the audience entertained. Since I really can't describe what I am doing in game, how about I just talk a little more about the game in general? So far it's not a bad game. It's not as good as Silent Hill 2, or even Silent Hill 1. I think Silent Hill 1 was scarier than this game. I don't know why, I just think the first Silent Hill was the scariest. Even though the graphics cannot compare to this one. I think maybe one of the reasons Silent Hill was scarier than this is the constant feeling of danger. In this game I don't so much feel the danger. I mean, it's there. I died once, I almost died a few times from the monsters. I also think the first Silent Hill was a lot harder than this. One of the things that made it harder were those damn flying monsters. If you ever played the original Silent Hill you'll know what I am talking about. I hated those fuckers. Trying to shoot them was difficult. And you couldn't run from them because they flew so fast. And there was one around every corner. Actually, in spite of the fact that Silent Hill 1 was scarier than this game, I think it's actually funner to play. I remember in the first Silent Hill just running around that huge neighborhood in the fog. I remember so many hours of my life just sucked down the drain running around in the fog. This game, even when I get lost a bit, is mostly in confined areas, so I just feel less lost, if that makes any sense. That's something I hate about large 3D games in general, is the vast open space where you can run around for hours in the wrong direction. And while the original Silent Hill wasn't that bad, some games are.
So where are we?
Kate, you're back. And you have tea. Hey, I recognize that scent anywhere. That's Earl Grey.
Yup, it sure is. So what are we doing now?
Still walking around these apartments.
Nice block.
Yup, I got skills.
Your skills didn't pay off there.
Yeah, I seem to have blocked a little too early and was coming out of my block stance when it struck. Whoa, big fat fucker, I ain't fighting this thing.
But you know, if they put the big thing in there, there must be something in that room.
You got a point. I'll run in there real quick and look around.
Now look at all the blood that came out of you from getting hit.
Yeah, I put the blood effects on high, so everything bleeds a lot. It kind of looks like she had her period.
God damn it. Anytime a female character bleeds or gets anywhere near blood, males have to make a comment about periods.
Well, it's something weird you women do.
What do you mean it's something weird?
Guys don't have periods.
That's because you haven't learned how.
What do you mean we haven't learned how?
Plain and simple. It takes us girls years to learn how to menstruate. There's a fine art to it, and it takes a lot of practice.
I don't believe you. You're making that up.
No, I'm serious. Scouts honor.
You were in the Scouts?
No.
You ever notice women lisp? Why do women do that?
I think some women do it to be cute.
Well, it's not cute.
Do I lisp?
No, but I'm just saying, it's another one of those weird things girls do. In fact, it gives me a headache sometimes when I listen to that high-pitched lispy sound. It makes my eyes hurt.
Your eyes hurt from women lisping?
Yeah, like it gives me a headache, right behind my eyes. Why do gays lisp?
Well, not all gays do, but some of them do. I think it's because they are trying to imitate women.
Why do they try to imitate women?
I think because they feel female at times.
Wouldn't that make them transgender?
Fuck if I know. Do I look like a gay guy or a transgender? You know what, don't answer that or this hot Earl Grey is going right in your lap. So you're really not going to tell me about how you burned the painting with the pork?
Alright, fine. I mixed the pork with the hydrogen peroxide, and apparently the hydrogen peroxide made oxygen get released from the pork, or some chemical in the pork made the oxygen escape the hydrogen peroxide, and then I used the matches to ignite the painting while the hydrogen peroxide and pork mixture in the bucket released the oxygen to amplify the flames so that the painting could be burned down.
I don't believe it. That is the most convoluted mess I have ever heard.
Tell me about it. That makes no sense. Why not take more money if it's just laying there? Like I said, you never know when you might run into a vending machine and want a fucking Snickers or a soda.
Or combos.
Yeah, combos. I haven't had them in a long time. I used to walk to the Royal Farm store every night and buy an Italian cold cut, combos, a Coke, and that was my dinner every night for about a year.
Okay, that was some irrelevant information.
Well, you said combos. Oh look, there's a vending machine now. Oh, thank God, the key came out. When she rattled the can I was thinking, dear God, don't tell me I now have to go find a special tool to open the can with. Like, I thought for sure she was going to try to open the can only to break off the metal tab, or break a nail, and then require a special item to open it with.
And the whole time you would have been screaming katana, I have a fucking katana, use the katana.
Oh Kate, you know me so well.
That's pretty much the feel of the Let's Play, and I am rather impressed with the graphics quality. I was really worried that in dark places of the game the screen would be very pixelated. It is unfortunate that with the Paul and Kate voice synths that every once in a while a keyword gets pronounced weird, like you heard them talking about a can, and it got pronounced like Ken. But there is nothing I can do about that since each syllable is a pre-programmed modulation. At first their monotone voices are a little difficult to listen to, but it doesn't take long for their voices to grow on you, and then human imagination has a way of filling in blanks. So once you become familiar with the voice synths, your mind will start to fill in the illusion of human expression, so you get used to their monotone voices, and really start to feel their character and personality. That reminds me of a video I have had in the works for a while now about the Uncanny Valley, which is a chart showing how cartoonish things elicit human empathy from us, and we empathize with it, make it out to be more human than it really is. Yet, really human-like robots tend to be very creepy. The reason is, when confronted with a cartoon, such as Jessica Rabbit, or a robotic toy, we know full well that what we see is not real, is not human, so its differences get ignored and we search for the humanity in it. But when an extremely realistic human-like animation or robot moves and speaks, it's just very eerie because they give off the image of mental illness, or biological illness. That is, they look diseased, like animated corpses. It is so realistic that we focus on that which is unhuman about it. The fear, or creepiness, that we experience, is based on our fear of catching a disease from someone. If a person moves and behaves defective, this implies they have an illness, and our self-preservation kicks in, and we want to remove ourselves from the possible contagion they are carrying. Or because we judge people's behavior with expectations and predictors, when someone acts weird we see their behavior as threatening because it challenges our predictors. I recall me and my sister, when we were little kids, would play a psychological game with each other where we deliberately act weird to creep the other out. It is difficult to put into words the ways in which we acted weird, but we would act like we weren't completely there, not completely ourselves, like some sort of doppelganger imitating ourselves, and we'd really give each other the creeps. And then after one of us would behave this way, we'd talk about it, and explore why it was creepy, and my sister said something really interesting. She said, because I had the feeling you were up to something, like something deceitful and harmful was going on, and that's when I realized certain social cues can elicit a paranoid response from another person. I thought I had caught on to something very fascinating about human behavior, but a little more thinking about it and I realized actors do this all the time to cue to the audience that they are the bad guy. Certain mischievous undertones in their voice and facial expressions serve to convey a message to the audience that this person is the killer, or is up to something bad. But me and my sister were very interested in exploring the science behind these behaviors and...
Razor, you're straying from the topic and rambling again. You should move on to giving some shoutouts to fellow MRAs and MGTOW.
Ah yes, of course, I would like to give some shoutouts. There are some very talented individuals in the manosphere who deserve some mention. First up is Spetsnaz. I was making a video to give him and a few others a shout-out, when out of nowhere Barbarossa makes a video giving him a shout-out. I wrote Barbar and told him great minds think alike. Anyhow, here are a few edits from one of Spetsnaz's videos, to give you an idea of his style. You know what, let's take this to the big wall TV in the gaming room.
Hello, welcome. I want to talk in this video about the mindset of men who identify with the ideology of modern feminism, and the men who pander to female approval at the expense of their own gender. To these men, a woman's perception has always defined their identity as men. It's through a female's eyes that these men derive self-worth and purpose. But these men, they have no conception of true masculinity. Providing for or pandering to a female's needs, it's not a man's purpose. That traditionalist way of thinking, it's been the driving force behind male productivity for centuries. Politicians know this all too well, and they've exploited this desire for female approval for their own ends. But to treat a woman in such a traditionalist way, it's to demean that woman. It's infantilizing her, and it's in complete opposition to the concept of gender equality. And the system, it's geared in a woman's favour, and the profit gained from persecuting men is what keeps the economy greased. And men that pander to women and refuse to accept this truth all believe the same lie, is that men are privileged and women are oppressed victims. And from my interactions with male feminists, and I've had quite a few, due to having worked in the mental health and rehabilitation fields in the past, the male feminist point of view, it's one that sees feminists as the champions of male rights, who fight gender roles and seek equality for men and women. And nothing can convince them otherwise. And they view any man who questions the opinion of a woman as being anti-feminist or anti-woman. So they have a very liberal mindset, that men are incapable of reason, and that feminists are the only ones that can guide and instruct men. And they believe males have been indoctrinated to believe that feminism is a negative influence. And any debate, it's just an exercise in futility. False stats and generalizations are used, and they won't accept any other viewpoint, regardless of the facts. So they think feminism is about equality, but they don't accept that those things have been overridden by an agenda to erode male rights and disadvantage men. And they refuse to question these things due to fear of rejection by females. And male feminists, they've experienced male rejection their whole life. So for them, the threat of more rejection is terrifying. And the white knight, he feels inadequate. He feels a compulsion to prove his worth and masculinity to women no matter what the cost. And the woman herself, she's reduced to an object. She's a fantasy. And not only that, she owes him for all the chivalry. So in reality, the white knight's behaviour is demeaning to women, and it's incredibly sexist. So to prevent this, or to gain this approval, the white knight, he'll do anything. He'll lie, he'll use violence, he'll kill other men, whatever it takes. And white knights, they don't see it, but they're a very easy target for predatory women. They have a very romanticised image of women, so they can be abused easily, since they refuse to accept that women are capable of such manipulation. And in an argument, they'll bow down, rather than risk rejection. These men, they have no capacity or skill set in which to debate women.
And you got to love his awesome Aussie accent. Many people wonder why I use the word mate a lot. It's actually because in this old game Bounty Bay Online, also called Void Century Online, I was in a guild with a lot of Australians and a few Kiwis. And in Ventrilo, back when I could talk, the way they always said mate was rather catchy, so I just picked it up from there. I remember at some point I was considering switching guilds, and when I decided not to, one of them asked me why, and I replied not a single Aussie among em mate. Who wants to be in a guild without Aussies? Anyhow, Spetsnaz is a pretty interesting guy, very deep into psychology and philosophy, very migto, and I think everyone should give him a listen.
Doing the Aussie accent can be a bit rough on the throat. Anyhow, another talented gentleman. I think you guys should give a listen to his Myth of Feminism.
Hello again. So I saw this woman's video a long time ago and finally decided to address it. I don't know if this young woman is a feminist. I checked her channel and watched some of her videos, and she sounds like a feminist, but I couldn't find any espousing of feminist theory. I'm really not sure. I'm not going to call her a feminist because I'm sort of on the fence about it. In any case, she might be like me in that I support MRAs and MGTOWs as well, but I am neither. I would never count myself amongst their numbers, but I do support them. Maybe she's the same. She supports feminist work, feminist theory, but she's not a feminist herself. Or it could be that I just suck at searching, who knows. In any case, I want to address her content, not herself, at least as much as I can, because inevitably I'm going to have to talk about her. So let's get started.
If there's ever a time that I needed a drink to read the YouTube video comments of mine, it'd be this video.
Oh, Jesus Christ. An attractive young woman with a gimmick, the parrot, is going to talk to us about men's rights. Yeah, this is not going to end well. Okay, just as a general observation, have you noticed that almost all feminists and allies of feminists use webcams, and almost all MRAs and MGTOWs and their supporters do not use webcams? We usually rely on the strength of our content and not how attractive we are. And of course someone's going to say, she's not relying on her looks. Look at what she's wearing, look at the way she talks, the way she moves, and the way she presents herself. I don't think I've ever seen a single feminist video that's all audio. It seems to me that females and feminists love it when all eyes are on them.
Good until roughly the late 70s, early 80s, when the MRAs, as we really know them today, began to emerge. They acted very much in large as opposition to many of the men's liberation.
Whoa, slow down. What the hell is a men's liberationist? I actually had to Google this and quickly saw the wiki to figure out what it was, because I've never heard of anyone actually use that term. So the wiki entry says the following. The consciousness and philosophy of men's liberation is split into two factions. One is critical of the restraints which a patriarchal society imposes on men. This faction is informed by feminism. Why am I not surprised? The other, critical of the restraints matriarchal society imposes on men, is informed by masculinism. What? Masculinism? Whilst the two approaches may debate the degree to which men benefit from institutional power, they both stress the costs of traditional masculinity. Yeah, I've never heard of this term. I've never heard of any MRA identify themselves as a men's liberationist, not now, not even 20 years ago. Yeah, she's basically stupid, or pulling this straight out of her ass. Or more realistically, she's using feminist nomenclature to give this a very strong feminist focus, a feminist twist.
MRAs often viewed women as almost having too many rights.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Too many rights? Too many rights?
Just when I think you've said the stupidest thing ever, you keep talking.
In this case, this woman believes that men think they had too many rights. First of all, that doesn't even make sense. What happens is, she's confusing the term rights for the term privilege.
That the men's liberationists, or MRAs, have been talking about that affect men disproportionately. So whether that be child custody, alimony, domestic violence, and rape, they're all very, very unique problems in their own way that impact men, but MRAs today, they're not really addressing that. Child custody, alimony, domestic violence, and rape, they're all very, very unique problems in their own way that impact men, but MRAs today, they're not really addressing that.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Jesus. I mean, I don't want to seem like I'm picking on her because it's a girl, but this is an incredibly stupid woman. She clearly cruised through life on her looks. She has nothing in between her ears that could be considered brain matter, at least non-functioning. How the fuck do you get away with saying a line like MRAs don't address things like child custody, alimony, rape? What the I mean, these are the... Okay, I'm just... Give me a second to calm down.
He puts me in the mind of a Hispanic Sparky Fister, so if you like the way me and Sparky and Cheswold Almighty pwned our masses, I think you'll enjoy the myth of feminism. Next up is Victor Zen. I have described him as the new age badass, calm, cool, witty. When I first experienced Victor Zen, it was due to Bernard Chapin making fun of him as an unmanly leftist mangina infiltrating. Yeah, you know the shtick by now. Anyhow, I got a chuckle out of Bernard's mockery of him, and that day I was only able to view 20 seconds at a time of Victor's video because YouTube was just glitching videos all day long, so I didn't get to see all of the original video Bernard was mocking. Thus I took Bernard's word for it and I never thought much of Victor. And then one day, about a couple of months ago, I came across one of Victor's videos, watched the whole thing, and I was very impressed. I watched another and another, each time being even more impressed. It turns out I had Victor all wrong, and someone remind me why I ever used to listen to Chapin. Wait, I've said Bernard's name like 4 or 5 times. Clearly I'm a cult leader by Chapin's own logic. Anyhow, after checking out Victor's videos, and realizing all the real-world activism this guy does, I have come to the conclusion that Victor Zen is a one-man army for men's rights. He's more than just a keyboard commando or YouTube personality, he gets shit done. His videos are often filled with tons of references. The man knows his statistics, he is deeply educated on gender issues. He has a strong grasp of logic, his ability to articulate rationality with charm and wit is paramount. Todd Kelly wrote an article about the men's movement and mentioned that the movement needed more Victor Zens. I agree, the focus, the discipline, the wit and attitude of Victor Zen is a positive influence on this disheveled movement.
In fact, one great website for finding out whether or not you, in fact, are indeed a feminist is areyouafeminist.com, where it asks you 2 questions. 1, do you think all human beings are created equal?
Man, you didn't even read the question right. And by the way, are you serious? This is the test?
And 2, do you believe that women are human beings?
Yes. Just curious, who said no?
If you answered yes to both questions, you are indeed a feminist. And people who say it's anything different are either being disingenuous or uninformed.
Listen to yourself.
Feminism is about equality, it's really just that simple.
You know what? I'm going to start a movement that's about nourishment. Yeah, nourishment. Nourishment's good, right? We all need to be nourished. We need nutrition. We need to be renewed. See, it sounds nice. And I guess what we'll do is, like, one of these days we'll just eat babies. Bear with me now. What we'll do is we'll go up to people's homes, we'll break in, go to the cribs, and eat the babies. But whenever people complain and they bitch about, our movement, we would just say, you're against nourishment.
I mean, in the vast majority of Western democracies, if not all Western democracies, women are underrepresented. And the point...
Here is a non-comprehensive list of organizations or legislation or programs that are dedicated to women. General Federation of Women's Clubs of Violence Against Women Act, the National Organization for Women, National Women's Law Center, Hot Gamer Girls Club, Global Network of Women's Shelters, Women in Science, International League of Council of Women Leaders, International Council of Jewish Women, International Women's Department, Women's Achievers Association, PEO Sisterhood, Relief Society, Third World Organization for Women in Science, UNIFEM, Women's Christian Temperance Union, Women's Commission for Refugee Women and Children, Women's Environment and Development Organization, Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, International Federation of Business and Professional Women, International Freedom for University, International Zionist Organization, World Association for Girl Guides and Girl Scouts, Young Women's Christian Association, American Association for Women Radiologists, American Association of University Women, American Heritage Girls, American Women's Suffrage Association, and Association of Women Professionals, Association of Women in Science, Big Sister, Daughters of the American Revolution, the Daughters of Utah, Pioneers, Equal Rights Advocates, Feminists for Life, Feminist Majority Foundation, General Foundation, Women's Clubs, America, League of Women Voters, Mommy Mentors, National American Women's Suffrage Association, National Association of Female Professionals, National Association of University Women, National Council of Jewish Women, National Federation of Republican Women, National Women's Suffrage Association, National Women's Political Caucus Network, Women's of Visionary Influence, Women's Christian Temperance Union, Women's Bowling Congress, Women's Missionary Union. Can't even read this straight anymore. Women's Commission for Refugee Women and Children, Young Women's Task Force, Women in Prison, Women's World Wide Web. But women have no representation, you're right.
Join the feminist movement and make sure that they focus enough on the equality portion of that if you want. Guess what's not going to do anything? Making an opposition movement to a movement that is based on equal rights. Dip fucks.
Dip fucks. It's like dipshit, but he said fuck.
I've made videos directed at MRAs before, but at this point, I realize they don't really deserve any respect. Because the fact is, you don't know what feminism is.
Says the guy who didn't do any of his research outside Google.
You think you do, but you don't. And so previously I've suggested that both sides join forces, but...
Here we go.
Wow, I am so glad I went out of my way to actually educate myself and stop being an idiot!
Oh, you're not done.
And to those of you who take issues with both sides, and instead choose to stand above it all and just call yourself a humanist, I'm sad to say that you're just as ignorant as the MRAs I was just talking about because you don't understand what feminism actually is, based on my judgments from what I've heard from people whom I respect who and to all of you who so vehemently disagree with everything I just said, comment below. If I'm wrong, I would like to know. I promise you that so long as the preponderance of evidence is in your favor, then you'll win out.
I have made sure to read literature from both the feminist movement and the men's human rights movement. I have read feminist epistemology. I have read feminist standpoint theory, feminist postmodernism, feminist empiricism. On my tablet, I have The Second Sex. I have Feminist Mystique. I have the Scum Manifesto, and I think something by Gloria Steinem. So, believe me, I've read the literature.
He's back. This video is primarily directed at Victor Zen. I'm curious if you can advocate for men's issues without resorting to attacking feminists or females in general.
One thing straight first. I attack feminism, not women as a whole. Now, to answer your question more directly, I can, but it doesn't work. Not yet. Personally, I would like to be able to support men's issues without any confrontation, but that's wishful thinking. When things get political, there's going to be conflict. Now, when I bare my teeth, it is toward feminism and not women. Feminism and women are two different things. One's a demographic, one's an ideology. I fully respect women's autonomy. But then that brings the obvious question of why I attack an ideology that claims to support what I respect. Doesn't that make me a hypocritical misogynist? Well, let's see. People think that feminism is the authority on gender issues and gender equality, much like people get the impression that Republicans are the authority on business and Democrats are the authority on environmentalism, that the NRA is the authority on guns, and so on and so on. No one owns these concepts, but people get those impressions in the mainstream. Feminism is excellent at presenting itself to people who are new to the discussion. We're about equality, tolerance, love, understanding, inclusion. All of these nice things, and people buy into it. They love it. So people allow feminist interest groups, politicians, and so on represent their interests. Representation and support comes with money and decision-making power. But then feminism started breaking promises, and sometimes bones. We have seen not only a failure of feminism to represent the issues it claims to represent, but it also has attacked and harmed innocent people.
Now is it just me or does Victor put you in the mind of a young Doc Brown?
1.21 gigawatts! Great Scott!
Great Scott, look at that hair, it's like a before and after photo. Here is Victor before debating feminists, and here he is after debating feminists. What's interesting is, these were the three people I wanted to give a shout out to. But just yesterday I discovered someone else, by the name Sandman. I've watched about 7 or 8 of his videos. I find him fascinating. He does a lot of videos such as A God Among Migto, where he talks about brilliant lifelong bachelors, and famous philosophers such as Schopenhauer, and he has some really think out of the box views on women and Migto. Truly a fascinating guy with a lot to say, and I think you guys should really check him out. First I am going to play a very brief clip from his newest video on Schopenhauer, and then another from, well, I don't remember the name of it, but he did say something I wanted to comment on, so I'll find that video and put it in after the Schopenhauer clip.
Hi everyone, Sandman here. Today I'm going to talk about Arthur Schopenhauer in this 4th installment of my God Among MGTOW series. Schopenhauer influenced many great thinkers, including Nietzsche and Albert Einstein, with the body of his work. But for my purposes, I will be reading excerpts from his work, Studies in Pessimism of Women, and analyzing this particular piece. Schopenhauer chose to never marry and lived out his life in quiet solitude and contemplation. By all accounts, he was a man going his own way, and we have much to learn from him. Here is the first line of that work that I'd like to analyze. Schopenhauer says that women are directly fitted for acting as nurses and teachers of our early childhood by the fact that they are childish, frivolous, and short-sighted. In a word, they are big children all their life. A kind of intermediate state between the child and the full-grown man. He saw women as nurses and teachers of early childhood, and that was true back in those days. But what many people don't realize is that up until the 20th century, nurses were mostly male. Yet today, male nurses are ridiculed by female nurses and society in general. And today, many more female teachers are teaching children beyond the early education years, up into the high school and college level. My friends that frequent Plenty of Fish will often tell me that almost every second listing is of a teacher looking for a husband. I didn't believe it until I saw it with my own eyes. Anyways, getting back on topic, Schopenhauer says that women are childish, frivolous, and short-sighted, which makes them perfect for today's consumer-based economy. The marketing machine targets women that make up 85% of the frivolous consumption that we see today.
He goes on to read passages from Schopenhauer and give his interpretation and modern-day contrast and comparison. It's a great video. The video I was originally thinking of showing, I can't find it. I thought it was Miss Andre Treadmill, which was an excellent video, but that wasn't the one. Anyway, check out his channel. I really like his work, and I think you will too, especially the MGTOW in the audience.
Hey, I have an idea. Let me go all retro and use the original voice I used for my first few videos. Ryan 22 by a cappella. Something else I wanted to mention was yesterday, not long before bed, I take a look at my Google Plus notifications and it said The Amazing Atheist, and a few others, added me to their circles. Holy shit, that's all I got to say. Honestly, I don't get it. I never use Google Plus for anything. I'm not even sure what the fuck it is. It looks like Google's version of Yahoo. It's an email account, with a profile, just like Yahoo, and it is somehow linked to your YouTube account. And once signed in, it monitors everything you search for using the Google search engine. I seriously don't know what the fuck Google Plus is. Unnecessary is what it is. Anyhow, how did Amazing Atheist hear about me? Why would he add me to his Google Plus but not YouTube? Unless he did and it doesn't appear in his feed. Amazing Atheist was probably the first YouTube personality I ever took notice of, back when I first discovered YouTube, around 2006, because back in 2004, 5, and 6, YouTube wasn't really that big of a deal, I don't think. You had a fair amount of copyrighted songs that were hosted, and you had some pirated clips of South Park in super crap resolution. I remember when YouTube first introduced high-quality videos, which were 480p. Anyhow, I became aware of the atheist community through The Amazing Atheist, and he quickly became my favorite YouTube personality. I disagree with a lot of what he has to say, but much like with George Carlin, whose politics I also disagree with, I can appreciate his entertaining quality. He was the first guy I ever seen do Pwnage, and he was the master. He is far more tame these days, but back in the early days, before his channel was in jeopardy, and he deleted 2/3 of his videos, he used to rip people to shreds. One of the things I always thought was interesting is he'd do a video about something, and then someone would be like, "Man, I used to really respect you, but your opinions in this video really upset me. You are an idiot." I remember seeing a lot of that, and just thinking these people are idiots. You watch the man produce over 100 videos, and you like him when he agrees with your point of view so far, but one disagreeing point of view and you're butthurt and don't like him anymore. That's just some weak-minded shit. And the thing is, I have experienced that too. I've made videos where people who used to really respect me no longer love me anymore. I think the shit's hilarious, to be honest, because again, if you really respected someone, and then one disagreeing viewpoint is all it takes to no longer respect them, then you're a rather insecure narcissist who believes their opinion is paramount, and any deviation from your own opinion is an intolerable imperfection, which of course makes you a worthless asshole. Newsflash, I don't care who you are. If you are a fan of mine, be aware that you and I will disagree on something eventually. Anyhow, it's just fascinating that The Amazing Atheist in some way somehow noticed me. That's friggin' amazing, I think. What also amazes me is people I have a great deal of respect for have taken notice of me. Thunderfoot has favored several of my videos. Girl Writes What featured me in the very beginning, putting me on the map. Barbarossa has given me a shout out to help me get this channel up and running when my last one went down, and has mentioned that he really and truly enjoys my channel. Sparky Fister has given me a few mentions on his channel, and has watched and liked some of my videos, and I was one of the first Sparky Fister fans. I think the guy is fucking hilarious. So here are all these people I have a great deal of respect for, and big names. Again, you don't get any bigger in the atheist community than Thunderfoot and Amazing Atheist, unless you go outside of the YouTube famous category and into the academic and literary famous genre with Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens. And you don't get bigger in the MRM circle than Girl Writes What. And you don't get bigger in the MGTOW circle than Barbar. So it absolutely amazes me that I have done something to earn their respect, to so much as earn their notice. In that regard I am very fortunate. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. When I first started making videos on this channel, at first it was just going to be me uploading some music I had written and recorded. Then I made a video response to Christina Red on gun control, because her gun control arguments were pathetic. She really had pony my ass written all over that video with her incredible ignorance about guns. She couldn't figure out whether she was against semi-automatic weapons, or assault rifles, and didn't seem to understand that a semi-automatic is not the same as a fully operational machine gun. And that video was something I was very proud of, so I tried making another video, my racism versus liberal tolerance video, which I think is by far my worst video, and most people miss the point of it. I do believe the point of it would have been more simply put, as I have done earlier in this video, of claiming that the cultural Marxist-driven political correctness, the holy fucking religion of the left-wing fundamentalist, is every bit as hateful and bigoted as Nazism, and is basically Nazism with a reverse target, which doesn't make any less of a hate-driven ideology, and calling this shit tolerance is the ultimate hypocrisy. That was the point I was trying to drive home, but I guess I didn't express myself so well. I was new to the art of video making, then I made a response to Tooltime 9901, when he did that video Feminism, the New Enemy. That was technically my first MRM video, and it was 4 parts long, because I didn't have the verify my account feature to do more than 15 minutes, and I put a lot of work into that video. And looking back on it, it was sloppy as hell. Then came my response to those pesky dames on slut shaming. It was the video I had planned on doing before I did the Tooltime response. That video is the one that got me famous. Girl Writes What noticed it, Thunderfoot noticed it, and I don't know which of those two noticed it first, but whatever. Girl Writes What featured that video in her video. That gave me major traffic. It gave me my start, and to be honest, it was shocking. I didn't think I was going to do a lot of videos. I thought I might do a video about this and that, here and there, and I had like 12 subscribers up until that moment, and 5 of them were people I knew offline, from outside of YouTube. But now overnight, 1,000 views on one of my videos, hundreds of subscribers. Holy shit. I felt like the garage band that plays a set at a steakhouse in front of 20 people, gets a contract, and is a superstar. Like, how the fuck? That's just the feeling I get. And when I got up to 800 subscribers, I really thought I had peaked, and I was satisfied with that. I never thought I would have more than 800 to 1,000 subs. I mean, how many people are willing to listen to a text-to-speech program read what could be written on a blog? And I remember for the first few months, I always felt like I was catering to Girl Writes What's audience. It took me a few months to realize I had my own fans. I remember when I did the video Feminist Feign Fear, and I splashed text on the screen, and didn't use my TTS, and everyone was like, hey man, bring back the robot voice. Up until that moment, I thought the TTS was probably really annoying people, and the less of it was better, but you guys like the TTS.
Speaking of TTS, that voice sucked. I am so much happier with this one. That other voice can't say the word shit worth shit. It's 22 kilohertz, but the pronunciation part of the synth sucks. Anyhow folks, I guess that does it for this video. It's turned out much longer than I thought it would be. And remember to check out those people I mentioned. I'll have all the links in the description.
Razor, I have your car, and if you want it back, you have to give me 1 million in cash, unmarked bills.
Well golly gee whiz Kate, all I have is marked bills.
Very funny. Now either you give me $1 million, or I keep the car.
Why would you even make that offer? Brand new a Bugatti Veyron 16.4 Super Sport is about $4 million. Used, and assumed not wrecked, it's at least $3 million. Why not sell it to some gangster rapper for $3 million?
Because I don't know any gangster rappers, and no one else has millions. Besides, I want your respect. I've done so much for you, and all I ask is your respect.
Kate, respect is a thing earned, not given, and you don't earn respect by stealing my fucking car.
Then I'll race you.
For what, respect, or the car?
Both. If I win, I get to keep the car. If I lose, you get the car, but you have to respect me.
Kate, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. I wouldn't respect someone who lost a race to me, even though I am unbeatable.
Either you race me for the car, or you'll never see it again. You'll never find me.
Kate, you're calling from San Diego, my phone says so, and you're driving a Bugatti. Not a lot of Bugattis in San Diego, kinda hard to blend in. Furthermore, I have a GPS on that thing. I have your exact coordinates. Furthermore Kate, I can punch in a code on my phone and deactivate the engine while simultaneously sending out a distress call to the police that the car is stolen. You won't be able to drive it, and it will be flashing and beeping and sending out a tracking signal. Just how far did you think you'd make it in my car?
Alright, maybe I didn't think this one through.
Kate, just bring the car home so I can fire you, and all is forgiven.
Forget it, it's not going to happen. I would rather you report me to the police just to make you have to fill out all of that paperwork.
Kate, you're being childish, plus I have Sally to do all my paperwork.
Oh god damn it. Just race me.
Fine, I'll race you for the car. In spite of the fact I don't have any car as close to the Bugatti in speed, I have lots of nitro, and a nice selection. Should I use the Viper, the GT, or the Lamborghini Gallardo? You know what, I'm thinking Lamborghini. Yeah, that's right, Lamborghini, and convertible. I would have gone with my favorite Lamborghini, the Countach, but its additional weight makes it a little slower, and a little difficult to steer. You know what, yellow, I just can't do a yellow Lamborghini. I think maybe black. Yeah, sexy and stealthy. Alright Kate, let's see what you got. Come back here, Gates. I want my Bugatti back. God damn, that thing is fast. Oh well, no worry, she's a woman driver. Oh come on, fucking Sunday drivers. I know that's going to cut down on my aerodynamics. Is that what they call trading paint?
No, that's what they call wrecking. Over.
Kate, I hear you. Where the hell are you?
I'm on the CB, and you have to say over. Over.
Oh damn you Kate, when I get my hands on you, it's going to be over.
It's going to be what? Over.
I said it's going to be over.
It's going to be what? Over.
Yes, that's exactly what it's going to be. Over. Ha, I've taken the lead. Oh yeah, over.
Taken the lead, have you? Then why am I looking at you through my rear view mirror? Over.
A minor setback, woman. Over. Nitrous oxide, don't fail me now. And the lead is mine again. Over.
What were you saying? Something about me beating your ass. Come on Razor, I haven't even taken this thing past 5th gear. By the way, did you know this thing has 7 gears? Over.
Yes, I know it has 7 gears. I never got it past 6 without wrecking. Over. Damn, that guy took out my mirror.
It's not like you were going to be using it to look at me or anything. Over.
Ha, take that, bitch. Over. Damn it, that car is fast. Now I know what it feels like to be a pinball. Alright, I beat you. It's over.
It's what? Over.
It's over.
It's what? Over.
God damn it, Kate. Over.